What up, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Bitcoin it. Okay. Search engine. Self-hosting can improve opsec because I don't need to go to Google search to get result. So I remember you saying you can't add CRX to Brave, but you can. I'm going to show you how. So you add the search. You go to the settings. You go to search engine. You go to manage search engine site, and then you hit site search. There might be too many. Delete. Add. Shortcut. You are with the percent in the place of a query. Now, okay, let me just go to here. My Docker. So you take this, with percentage and S in the place of a query. Shortcut will be SX. Now, I believe there's a way you can make this the default. Make default. No page found. Go to search page. Or you can make this the default, and I believe you can. Oh shit, there's an option to make one the default, custom site search one as a default, yes. And I don't need to make a request to Quad9 or Getaflare to get my DNS. I mean, technically you don't. You can run an authoritative DNS server, like Tectenium or Pi-hole. I mean, you know, Tectenium is way more robust. And you can make it go directly to the source and then cache all the websites locally, and it will make less requests. But running a DNS server is quite still. It's not as private as everyone makes it out to be. WSG. Oh, what's good? Not much. How about you? Hope you're doing well. So you need CRX when searching with CRX. Okay, yeah, that's probably what I fucked up on. So settings manager. Edit again. Yeah, Pi-hole plus unbound setup. That's good. Search. I'm doing well. Do you want to hear a fire song I just sung? Yeah, I can't listen to it on stream because I don't want to get DMCA strike. But yeah, drop it in the chat, man. Question mark. Q. It's probably for query. Equal sign. %S. Okay. Now I should be able to make this the default. And then open up a new tab. There we go. Okay, bet. Who rebooted Mozart to make TS? This shit? Having a job is such a chore. I will listen to this later. I also added a web crawler to Brave. Nice. So if you want to go even further, oh, what's going on, Code? Thanks, appreciate it. GNU plus balls. GNU plus balls, true. So that's how you add CRX to your search engine, especially if it's locally hosted. It's much more private, and you also get the ability to scour the internet. Now, for a long time, CRX was not the best option. Copy paste their music video into YouTube chat. Oh, sorry. He did it. You guys can't see that because he's on. This person's on Twitch. I'm just reading the comments. I'll. It sounds like a touching story. So the cool thing is, it doesn't really matter if it's HTTPS, but you can look up YouTube.com. It'll pull up. It'll be normal. And then, or if you look for, it's not opening it up like normal. It's just opening up Brave. You can look for banana bread. But for a long time, the search was not good. Do you know the YouTube song Refactor It Later? No, I do not. Classic banana bread? Wow. So it does Brave cached. It cached a lot of sites, which is cool. And then you can go to the main CRX site, and then just your settings. User interface, privacy, you can do image proxy, query in the page tail, track URL removed, which is nice. And then there's engines, special queries, which Tor check plugin. This plugin checks if the address requests a Tor exit node and information users if it's. Oh, nice. Time zone plugin, display the current time zone, different time zones. And then cookies. And you can, this is the list of cookies and there's CRX on your computer. With this list, you can assess the transparency of 6MG. Okay. Interesting. But it's pretty simple. Autocomplete. I can just do Brave, favicon resolver. I don't know what that means. Safe search, strict, engine tokens, some other stuff. But you can make it kind of like your own thing. Watching through Twitch with YouTube chat titled through DWM. As you should. You should be watching it. What the GigaChat way would be to watching it through SSHing into VPS to watch it on a Chasm server via VNC or RDP, some form RDP, DWM based. What does DWM look like? Oh, it's suckless? Yeah, I already hate it. Do you guys use Tmux? I do not use Tmux, but I did for a while. Now that Graphene OS supports native terminal, that's all I use. Through Tor and VNC. Yeah, that's how you should do it. Remember to consume content via Tor over VNC. The funny thing is, for a while I was using Chasm as my, like, I would look up stuff that I was like kind of sketched out about through Chasm. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting software to host. I don't really need it anymore because I have a lot of virtual stuff. Pretty much everything is virtualized besides like my gaming rig. But I'm getting some good high availability now. No more issues with the server. I'm also getting pretty good. Where is my uptime Kuma? I guess. Nope. Portainer. There we go. Oh, I gotta change that port. There we go. There you are. Man, 3001, the most used port. Ooh. I will say, guys, it's good to keep a uniform naming scheme in your local hosted service. I would say use a password manager if you can, but if nothing's really exposed, not super important. The most used port is either 80 or 443 for HTTPS respectively. Are you familiar with the Bedrock Linux operating system? I am. It's really cool. High availability, good, true. I consume content through Tor over Vert Manager Spice based. Bedrock looks cool. It's not actively maintained though, so I don't know if I'd run it. I was thinking about doing it because I could get Gen 2 plus Void and make Void 2. Gen 2 package managing with the back end of Void would be sick. Like the back end of Gen 2 and Void's package manager. I like Void's package manager more than Portage. But my uptime Kuma right now, what is it at? I am at a 99.959% uptime, 99.97, 99.96. I got a lot of more services to add, but that's like because they all use Discord webhooks in order to get. They use disk. I think Bedrock Linux is not being maintained too much. Is not really that bad since the distros you run it can update themselves. Void++. Yeah, but if it's an underlying script that uses any dependencies, I'd have to like look at it, and those dependencies are maybe outdated. I don't know if that would be a good thing. You're putting a lot of trust into it. It's got it. There are some things obviously maybe don't need like updating, but if it's like relying on any dependencies that could be considered vulnerable, maybe not the best idea in my opinion. Here we're gonna go get water. Based, as you should. Hydrate yourself, ladies and gentlemen, as you should. Let's go full on Simple X and dump Discord. That'd be good in theory. But I want you to think about this. If it hasn't happened with Element, that's been around much longer, and that's much more matured, I highly doubt that it's going to happen on Simple X. I just give people options. And I'm trying to make sure that, not that I think I'm important or big or anything, I don't want people to intimidate me. Because if they do, that could be bad. Code, I never asked you this. What is your profile picture? Run background Linux on Cubes OS? No, that'd be silly. There'd be no point. Because each cube is already sandboxed, so. And you can make something. There's things called HVMs, I believe is the correct term. HVMs allow you to port distros that aren't in the native format to Cubes OS. So if you want to run a hacking box like Kali, you can import it to it. But you have to remember that there's no GPU pass-through. So if you need anything super graphically intense, you have to take that at face value. That it's not going to be as efficient until they can find a way to securely do GPU pass-through that isn't clunky, that is secure. Cubes OS is probably at its best form of using Fedora, Debian, and Unix, and also Kick Secure, and Gen 2 if you want to. It is from an artist I really like that does abstract art, but his name is kind of hard to pronounce, so I forgot his name. Oh, looks cool. I was just wondering. Back with the water, nice. So that's like kind of the thing about cubes is it's assuming that everything is untrustworthy. So you should sandbox everything, and you should probably keep everything as native as possible. Running cubes for a very long time, I got kind of used to that. I don't really like the idea of gaming on a laptop anyways. It's just kind of lame. Bedrock Linux and a cube. Yeah, but there would be no benefit in my opinion. It'd be cool. I don't know if it could run properly. Because the cubes you make are heavily dependent on the version of that you're picking. Like if you pick Fedora as one of the cubes, it's going to put Fedora in everything in XFCE. It's probably possible. I'm wondering if the internet has an answer. Fedora high RAM use distro. Better than Debian though. Can Cubes OS be combined with Bedrock Linux? There's probably an answer for this. A Meta Linux distribution allows you to mix and match components from other. You should be able to install it in an HVM. So this is what it's called, but it probably won't have convenient cubes integration like with standard support templates. While I tried it in a monolithic system, because it certainly sounded interesting, so far it's far from stable, unusable. The other hand, with all the templates you could have in cubes, how do you see Bedrock's use? That's true. That's what like my conclusion was, that like you can get as many. So HVMs are cool. A standalone is a type of cube that is created for cloning templates, and then HVMs are hardware-assisted virtual machines, also known as fully virtualized machines. And you can like if you want OpenSUSE, or if you want like a specific type of Linux distro that isn't offered, this is how you do it. Ooh. OpenSUSE mentioned, based. Yeah. I found the artist. His name is Anders. Not going to be able to pronounce that last name. You're right. His name is kind of hard to pronounce. It looks like Rokuum. I'll stop. I wish high resolution displays just worked though. There is distro watch. Cyrex has definitely come a long way, so I'll probably be using it more and more. Only because he's a great art. Check him out sometime. I will. High resolution are not needed. Yeah, but I thought a 2K display would have been cool. It wasn't about a need. It was about like, hey, it's right there. Oopsies. He has made great art pieces. Nice. Modica. Archbang. Looks like a federal honeypot. Oh, uses OpenBox? Never mind, based. I'm intrigued now. OpenBox mentioned. By the way, when you're referring to as Cyrex, is actually referring it to as Cyrex is actually the fork is Cyrex NG. Oh, nice. I have been duped. So I'm gonna open up. I realized that I can actually. Where's Portainer? I can actually. Oh. Maybe 3,000. There we go. So this is my version control. And I'm wondering if I implemented about 30-minute mark. See you later, Billy. You should make a blog post or two about self-hosting and increasing opsec. I should. I implemented long-term memory to my agent. How do I install Dash Arrow? You don't install Dash Arrow. Dash Arrow is it's a little bit more complicated. We'll look at that real quick. Dash Arrow is an open source firmware distribution focused on a clean, simple code. You have to kind of like jump it into your BIOS. Like if you've ever done like Libre boot or like you've neutered Intel management system, it's essentially is a set of open core and SaaS products to do open source BIOS and UEFI firmware solutions. It's not like you install Dash Arrow. You have to like be able to put it on hardware that supports it. And installing a Chess mentioned. Anyway, see ya later. Later, Billy. I need Dash Arrow quality firmware. You have to like get Dash Arrow like stuff that supports it. Chess, cheese. LL. Chess mentioned. Cheese, chess, chest. Dash Arrow is cool though. It's definitely one of the better options out there when it comes. I run Dash Arrow on my laptop now, but I bought it pre-compiled. I bought it pre-installed. There are some companies that will sell Linux laptops that do have the option. So, glowing self-host. Self-hosted opsec bunker. Yeah. The description optional, the template, git core, license. We're gonna go 0 BSD, default, main crate repo. Okay. So we can just add to this main, add a file. Is that like Guitar Hero Plus? Is it like Guitar Hero Plus? Wait, what is? This is my repo for Ohm. So, I don't know, name your file, self-hosted bunker, the list. Oh, JK on Hero. No, Guitar Hero is awesome, man. So, like, right now my stack is the software stack. Is pretty simple. I wonder if that. I wonder if this is Markdown. I wonder if 4Geo. Does 4Geo. Oh, nice wiki. I can add a push mirror. I should SSH and just run it in pure Markdown. That'd be probably smarter. Or does it just support Markdown? My man has Void plus Zen Fedora vibes. Here you go. Have you ever heard of the dark web service Doxpin? Oh, of course. I gotta... Ooh, I can show you Radical. Look at this. Yeah, Doxpin is where people dox people. I mean, it's in the name. They dox people. So Radical is not a FBI honeypot. Show me boobs. What's up, Ryan? Where you been? Employed? Billy just left, so this is kind of funny. Bin of docs info. Yeah, essentially. Oh gosh, can we get fucking dark mode? Fuck. Oh, I'm in that directory. Okay. Then create Radical. Before running Radical the first time, run source. Oh, okay. Nice. Settings. Dark. Any suggestions on dark web forums besides Dread? There's a few of them. Oh, like a loser? Work is for suckers, which I am. It's true. I thought Bender only drinks beer and goes on space adventures. No, Ryan likes to bicycle and drink beer and go on owie adventures. Dark web forums, not really, but actually a lot of dark web questions for today, as there should be. There's I'll show you a good site though. Tor is where Tor is the based way. So dark web daily .live. This is Sam Bent's site. It's pretty awesome. So I've been solar for over 3 weeks. Where can you find onion links? I'll show you. I've been solar Oh, sober. Wow, yeah, that sounds terrible. Do you have a drinking problem? So there's forums right here, and there's Pitch. Pitch is pretty cool. It's like Twitter, but it's like Twitter, but the onion version of Twitter, and not a shithole. There's CryptBB, Dread, obviously. There's Ramble, Query, Cbulk, Boca, Superbay, Enchan, Outer Space, Sconfig, and it tells you if it's still like active. You can kind of find .onion links like pretty much anywhere. You just gotta like surf. You have to like search the net. You have to be involved by going on other forums where other people link other sites. There's the hidden wiki, but I think it's a lot of the sites are dead. This is why I like this site, because it just updates us. And then there's it just updates you if like they're active or not. Nothing's worse than fucking going on a dark like dark onion site link and it being dead. It's just because there's a lot of them. Yeah, it's very cool. Where to find trustable onion market links? You don't. You have to think a lot. I wouldn't trust like 80% of the onion links. My blog is for all the. I haven't migrated all of it yet, like mirrored all of it yet, but my blog now is on the on Tor now. I got to do some configuration, but if for people that want to like go to it and read stuff via Tor, it's not possible. Yeah, lots of traps, lots of federal agents. I don't know what this language is, so I'm gonna assume it's asking for this. Does anyone read this language? Damn. Wonder what Superbay is. Enchant's pretty cool. It's kind of weird. But that's the cool thing about self-hosting is you get a good amount of, you don't have to reach out to the internet for a lot of things, and it's cool. It's kind of cool. I like finding old dead. I know this sounds crazy, but I like finding old dead forums of people having conversations and just reading it. But real quick, this is Radical. Your node is not running. Changes you make won't be announced. You can start your node. Which is pretty sick. If you want to decentralize yourself. You can add repos, or you can search. You can search repos. You can search for Radical repos by name or description. By seeding a repository, your node fetches it from the network, allowing you to interact with it locally while also making it available to others. Your node is offline. You can still add repos, but they will only be fetched once your node is back online. It said select for none. Oh, how do you know? Do you speak German? Or whatever that language is? Any bilinguals in the chat? Bjork? Or did you just use AI? AI camera. Or did it have English and I'm just retarded? Oh, 9? Let's see. Oh, we're back. We'll be working. Oh, interesting. Working hard to improve the experience. Check Hive Messenger. Interesting. What is this? It had English. Oh, I'm just retarded. I'm just dumb. I use ChatGPT Atlas browser. I know you're joking. Guys, do you think we should trust the word Hive Messenger? The word Hive Messenger just screams glowy. Schedule and send automated newsletters to subscribers. Yes, we use end-to-end encryption, managing any only even if we can actually conversation. This just seems very sus. Who would use this? Oh, select 4 non-matching elements. God, I am retarded. Select 4 non-matching elements. Okay. Tire, helmet, pavement, bumper. Is that what they mean? Damn. Bike, building, human. They don't seem to be matching. I do that Miss Sea Crab too. Better the fronted animations on a non-message platform website, more glowy it becomes. Oh. Better the front end, and yeah. Not even just that, it's just called Hive Messenger and it just looks fucking just screams glowy. It's like, is it open source? It's a little too simplistic. Send text files auto expire in 30 days. Yeah, 30 days so that they can so they can hoard it and crack it. Site issues. Wow, a whole thing dedicated to Super Bay. Legal Linux ISO sharing Pirate Bay. Oh, all these forms are closed. Interesting. Huh. I'd go on I'd go on Enchan, but it's just Russian extremists and ethot enjoyers. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what they're. This site's very interesting. But even from like, you know, the perspective of forum boards, you can learn a lot. Like first top board, the top board is always e-girl purgatory, and it's just coomers. There is no NFSW overboard. It's all NFS. It's either schizophrenic, QAnoners, e-girl like coomers, or fucking Russian shit. I wonder how many feds enjoy your podcast. There's probably at least one federal agent that's come across it. Run Doxman ITP. Run it, or have I been on it? I'm not really a fan of. I mean, I'm not a fan of Doxman because I think most of it's either fake and people just want to like dox people. And I spent quite some time on there, and it's pretty boring. Because it's just people going like, my ex-girlfriend cheated on me and here's all her information. Or, this guy's a pedophile. Like, that's essentially what it is. But there's probably like law enforcement that listens to a lot of sites, like probably like channels that promote privacy and promote Tor activities, which is legal. It's like going to what's it called? Who do you want to dox anonymously? That's funny. I mean, it could leak back to you if you give a certain amount of information over. I would say it's like going to DEF CON. DEF CON, you're probably interacting with a lot of federal agents without knowing. They probably go under. Some go undercover, or some just go to learn, and that's really about it. It is kind of interesting too, because you don't really know. Let me do this real quick before I forget. Before I forget. Wow. Yeah, OpenAI is going to get ads in ChatGPT. That's crazy. Not good. GOPT is cool. GIPTI is cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. ChatGPT is fucking selling ads. Huh. I would say even it's probably not surprising that they're running out. They're probably not making any money, and they want to make money. They're probably burning more money than they make, and they're trying to maximize all because ChatGPT 5.2 Codex is really good, man. Yeah, but the privacy implications is my issue. Like, and they're going to start serving ads. That's a bit concerning. And some people say, "Oh, I have nothing to care about. I have nothing to hide." It might. So we're going to look at some more opsec Bible. Self-hosted, server-side deniability. This will be quite the interesting one. libvirt, QEMU hypervisor, kick secure. The public VM is alone, isolated from network to prevent it from spying on the other VMs. What if an emergency tells the electricity provider to temporarily power off your electronics to check if it manages to shut down particular hidden? How do you ensure your servers running at home remain accessible even without the main electrical input? They're burning more than they make until they figured out how to sell it. Yeah, there's some idea that they're assuming that they're going to go IPO this year or next year. And if they do, and then all their financing data becomes public and people are like, well, you guys burned $2 billion, but you only made $300,000, it might tank their stock because they're all getting a bunch of venture capital fund. This happens all the time. Company gets a bunch of venture capital, gets an insane valuation, goes on the stock market, tanks. It'll spike for a minute because everyone's like, oh my god, IPO. All the rich people make their money because they got insider trading, and they'll dump it. Thank you, I appreciate it. Can you teach us how to use I2P IRC sometime? Yeah. I mean, I can do it right now. Like how to go to an IRC phone and I2P? Yeah. Just give me 1 second. You were cool once playing Magic the Gathering. He mastered Magic the Gathering. There is no opponent for him anymore. It's true. Did he pass out? No, I'm still here. It's 420 Summer. Oh no, I burned my tongue with pizza. He passed out and he's talking in his sleep. That'd be sick. Always an L too. You can actually go. ITP. Now we have to I have to let it run. For a little bit, because it most likely nothing will. Oh, no, we're good. RIC from the terminal, right? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. What's up, man? Parrish. Ryan's just mad because he's sober. From the terminal? Probably not needed. Let's see. Not Bob Lives Here is pretty good information. Oh, here you go. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a minute. I'm gonna have to let this run. Do. Yeah, this is gonna take a second, so we're gonna do that. Not dropping anything important. Okay, so let's see. It takes a few to resolve. Yeah. Interesting. These are interesting thoughts. You can get a nice backup. Wow, that's a beefy backup offline. Huh. And if you run a nut server, even better. Nice. Nut server. Look at that. Electrical redundancy. UPS, temporary failure of electrical source. Cable, plausible deniable VMs, onion service. Their crypt volume. What? I was looking up those yesterday. opsec Bible or UPS. Yeah, they're pretty. They come in handy. I have two. I want a rack mounted one. Personally, because just to make everything cleaner, but the one that I want is out of stock. So a nut server is a network utility tool display. So like almost all nut servers have a port that can be scanned to get information from. Some have RJ45, some have serial, some have VGA, depending which one you have. Like more expensive ones will have RJ45, and you can manage it. So you can see the status, the runtime, the battery voltage, the input, the output, sometimes the health data of like the health data of like the battery itself, etc., etc. It's pretty nice, and more details all the way. It gives off a lot of information. It's pretty cool. Charge 97% on battery. It'll tell you, is it online? Like, it'll tell you like if it's what it's running on. UPS systems I have is a switching inverter with a built-in charger. I just need some batteries. Oh, nice. That's pretty based. Yeah, it's always good to have a redundant system, and the only good thing is the nut servers can actually tell your services to shut down very gracefully, especially if you're running ZFS, or if you're running anything critical and you don't want to get immediate power outage. Like Docker doesn't like being shut off uninterrupted. It's like unplugging it, and neither does ZFS. Like if you're running TrueNAS, you got to do a lot of stuff. You got to do a lot of stuff, yes. We do have to do a lot of stuff. But it's Jeff Geerling has a really good video on how to set this up, and so does Techno Tim. Interesting. Privacy. Oh, server-side self-hosting. Why should I self my own services? This is a good one. I don't like it either. Wait, you don't like what either? Oh, outages. Yeah, not good. This is why, like, I don't understand why people are like so against doing solar. Like, why are they so like, I want to do gas and I want to I like gas and propane. It's like embarrassing. Like we're in 2025 and people are like, I like everything running on gas. I like gas. It's cheap. It's like, all right, buddy. Keep handing money to your fucking utility company. Like, the fact that the U.S. is so conflicted about green energy, like, doing anything renewable or green is just fucking retarded. I like coal. I like being controlled by OPEC Plus and fucking Israel. And I like being controlled by other countries. I like chasing oil. It's just retarded. Honestly, it's a really inefficient fuel source now. It's just cheap. But like, if you look at the solar cost, especially if you're in a sunny, like state, you're retarded if you don't do solar at this point. Say you're like, I've seen people like do like estimates. If your electric bill is like $100 or $150 or whatever, you could just go get solar, finance it, and pay the same amount, maybe over like a 10-year, 10-year period. Pay the same fucking amount. It's all about the money. Yeah. And then you are independent of the fucking grid. I have 400 watt solar and charge control in Florida, and add that to my UPS. Oh, nice. I think people should just go, if they can, just find out what their electrical needs and just fucking switch. Give $350 a month for solar. Goddamn Loch Ness Monster, give me about $350. Even if you're paying like $200 a month for solar, it's gonna pay for itself in like, I think there's hundreds of calculators out there that can just tell you like what the offset cost is gonna be. Even if you live in the north, like the north and like the least sunniest states, you can still go solar. A lot of people have misconceptions on like how solar works. They don't realize the fucking sun is out almost all year. Like, even when it's snowy and cloudy, it's just less, it's further away, so it's less efficient. But you can cut down the bill, run off the sun and battery during the day, and outage and charge at night. Yeah. Yeah. And I think people don't realize, like, you're not fucking doing anything at night. Nothing's running. I mean, even my server rack, I calculated everything. I need more solar charge and run the system. Oh, solar to charge and run the system. You probably need more efficient panels. That would be so. Buy real quick before we read this. During the day, these are the most efficient panels you can get. These are the ones I would get. They cost more, and I don't know if tariffs fucking hit them. So keep that in mind. But solar's getting so cheap. And getting more efficient. They're about the highest ones I think you can get is up to 33% efficiency. So these are kind of cool. Bifacial solar panels they cost now more, but they're almost transparent. So you take these panels, you can put them on a roof, you can put them on even if there's snow, the sun will go through it and reflect off the ground, especially if you have a white area like below it, and it'll reflect and it'll capture all that excess. So you can get up to 27% efficiency. The average panel is about 19-20%, if that, like with loss. You have loss through like cabling and this and this and this and this and that, 21% is crazy. Yeah, just enter your 5-digit zip code, guys, so you can get they can ask for your email and you get 30 emails. So these are the most efficient panels, so you can take less of them and put them on like your house, and then you can run your entire fucking self-hosted services via solar. Via solar, baby. I live in an apartment building, so solar is not an option. I can not put the panels anywhere. I do not have authority. The authority. Yeah, that's kind of gay. So you can get these solar panels. They're essentially, like I said, they're almost transparent. The They're supposed to beam through like this. These aren't it, but like they're supposed to beam through it. They beam through it. This is like 21% efficiency. So if you get a bifacial panel, it could be up to 27 to 28% efficiency. 30-year lifespan is kind of good. Like their bifacial are supposed to last longer too, but they are working on graphene infused solar panels. Those are taking like some form of they're supposed to come out in the next like year or two, maybe a couple years. That would be sick because they're supposed to last even longer. They're supposed to last like anywhere, I think, up to like 50 to 60 years or something, because graphene's a very durable material. So if that even happens, if you can pay off yours in 10 years, you pay off your solar setup in 10 years, you pretty much just became energy independent. That's true energy independent. Virgin, no Saudi Arabia or OPEC Plus or Israel coming into you and telling you what you can and cannot buy, brother. You cannot control the sun. That's why they fear it. No more oil. And it's like I said, it's embarrassing that we got boomers that are like fucking like 300 years old. I've seen a few videos on the ones that you're talking about collecting more. Yeah, they collect more sun because they go through the panel. The sun pierces through the panel. It bounces off the surface and reflects back to it, thus capturing that wasted energy that would normally just be directed at solar panels. I mean, wind turbines are like I think there's someone said that there's a math calculation on that, like wind turbines will never be efficient because it defies a level of law of physics. But if you combine both, if you do a combination of both, if you live in a windy city and you can get a cheap, inexpensive like wind turbine for like silly stuff, like stuff that doesn't require a high wattage, like your light system, maybe like your lights or something like that. Or it's like helping supplement the battery when the sun isn't out, but the wind is blowing. That could be an option. Wind turbines are generally, though, like less efficient, though, than solar. I know everyone says go nuclear. I mean, we should have went nuclear a long time ago. It's just not probably going to happen in our lifetime. But I think, again, that's still another company you have to rely on and pay into when you should be self-sustainable. There are some people on the chat who are more than 200 years old. That's true. There's some ancient boomers, lurking. So I mean that's my general perspective on renewable energy. Is not just from a financial thing. It's just you're more independent, and then you're not giving all your fucking information to a utility company. And they can't sell it to you, or they're like, here, install this free Nest or this free smart thermostat, and then they're going to just collect that fucking information and sell it. The sun won't sell your data. Think about it. The amount of information you have to give to these fucking utility companies is actually insane to me. I think that's crazy. Cool. So why should you self-host? Service is pretty easy to understand. Your ISP also sees what connections you come through your router and into the outside world. Your home connection, so your laptop using a remote service is controlled by a third party. Your switch, your home router, your connection, the remote server's internet connection, the remote server's router, switch, then running a remote server, XE, Google's OneDrive. I want a few small 800 watt wind, so when the LO 200-year storms come in and no sun, I can still get. Yeah, there's a mathematical equation that prevents wind turbines from being anywhere efficient. It's interesting. I read it somewhere. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe I can just search it. It's interesting, but they are still a better option when you combined it. Would it be called a math theory or law? I remember reading it somewhere. This is from 2025. That's interesting. Oh, I think it's called the Betz coefficient. The Betz coefficient is theoretical limit indicating that only 59% of the wind's kinetic energy can be converted to usable power. That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, determine the power extract from a wind turbine. We assume the air duct model, the wind's velocity is V1 and the outlet is V2. We consider the mass of M in air presses through each second. Now, due to this mass kinetic energy wind at the interval duct, similarly due to the mass kinetic energy of the wind outlet duct. I remember when the math problem first came out, 200 years ago. From the above equation, it is found that the theoretical maximum power extracted from wind fraction is known as the Betz coefficient. The calculated power is according to the theory of wind turbine, but actually mechanical power received the generator is lesser than that due to the loss for friction, rotor bearings, and inefficiency aerodynamic designs of the turbine. From equation 4, it's clear that the extracted power is directly proportional to the air. Battery just keeping... Yeah, battery. That's a big part of it, too, is batteries that keep getting better, it becomes less relevant. That's true. You'll ever try MG? It's open base implementation of GNU Emacs and also very tiny. No, I need to. It sounds based, actually. Batteries are a part of it. So like if your battery is more efficient at accepting charge and they discharge less, obviously, then we can rely less on the gathering aspect of it. Server batteries are now becoming like really inexpensive. There's this battery company called Vector Server Batteries. And I believe people should like be self-reliant as much as possible. Like not depending on the grid is probably good in theory. Even if you live in the inner city, it's not like you have to like just get I'm just gonna get onto the power grid and something to think about. You may want to get familiar with normal GNU Emacs beforehand. I don't think MG has the interactive. Okay. I think Vader. It's called Vader. I'm retarded. When I say Vector. So these are probably the best server rack lithium batteries you can get. They got pretty good cycles. They're very inexpensive too. So I know they do these deals. These don't really matter because they're going to sell at this price. I'm too busy to afford to get off the grid. No, I don't think so. I think the thing is, well, you live in an apartment, so I mean it makes sense. Why would you do that? It's not always I'm just talking about average people that just buy their fucking house, or they buy land and live on it. Like, it's always like buy land and then go solar. You don't have to. You can just buy a house and go solar and be normal. You don't have to live in the fucking sticks. The thing about living in the sticks is you still have to listen to the fucking laws. You still have to pay property taxes, and you live in the middle of fucking nowhere. So have fun. Put money into the batteries. Yeah. Efficiency of CPUs is getting better as well. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, RISC-V would be... I can't wait to see where RISC-V is going to go, to be honest. But this, I mean, you could get... I mean, $8,000 is really not that bad for a server rack. 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be overkill. This could, like, run your house. Probably the average house. Very well in. And then, what's the name of this channel? There's a channel I watch that has that shows you pretty much how to do this yourself. They on YouTube. They make, if the power is out, maybe next stream you can try both. Yeah, that'd be true. During a hurricane power out, I have battery system to run selected sections of the house and charge with gas generator OS. I run the gas half the time of a gen. Yeah, there's probably, like I said, there's uses to, like, if your solar power system gets damaged, then yeah, that sucks. Like, that becomes like more of an issue. But the good thing is, if you're still connected to the grid, even a portable solar panel for emergency is better than nothing, as long as... That's true. Oh, what is the name? He showed me... I'll find it through here. He's the reason the person I'm talking... Gas generators are cheap too. Yeah, gas generators. So this guy right here, DI Solar Power with Will Prowse, awesome channel. I learned a lot about solar just because of him. He talks a lot about, like, how to do it yourself, how to build these yourself. How to calculate. I love the idea of a full off-grid power. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think this is a really good channel too. Lots of really good information, how to do it yourself. But there's an inverter. You can get these all-in-one inverters, if I can remember. I think this is it. Like, these batteries are really... I've found people talk about these Vader batteries. They're very good. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. And you really don't need a lot. You get, like, look, if you have... This is one of the most popular, the EG4. That is a very popular one. If he is trustworthy, yep, my go-to for batteries and systems. Will is the solar and battery man. He is, yeah. He is. Hey, BJ. A plethora of knowledge, honestly. Where is it? There's an inverter that I wanted to... Oh, yes. The EG4 6000 XP. That's what it was. Full off-grid runs on crash money and investment at first, so you also need your own house to do that. is more like a U.S. thing, I imagine. If you're in a country where you can buy land, I would say that it could be really anyone can do it, but I don't know like the laws of like other countries. I would say going solar is cheaper. You don't need all these fancy like panels. So you got to think about. So what you do is you take your system, you find out what you run, and then you calculate what's your run time throughout 12. Like say you're up for 12 hours, like when everything is running at 12 hours, you're not running everything up at the same time generally. You got to see what your usage is every month, and then you buffer like I think 10 to 15% for expansion. But you got to make sure that you don't have too many panels. So this sounds crazy, but during the cold winter months, yes, I own a home, but you can do that pulling a trailer or an RV system. Yeah. You don't need a house. You just need land where you can legally do it. Or like a van where you can run everything off solar batteries, which would be most likely less electrical footprint. So a common thing that people don't know is like when you're setting up panels, you actually during the winter months battery voltage goes higher, I believe, because of the cold, and because of the cold it can actually fuck up your system if you have too much voltage going through it. I use pretty reasonable amount of electricity. Yeah, probably because you're in the city, you're a normal human being. 1,000 kilowatt 10 amps is average for the home with low uses, let's say, to be powered for a day's 24 hours amps. 24 kilowatt amp hours of battery, that gets expensive to actually go full off-grid unless you have lots of batteries. Average house, 24 kilowatt amp hours of battery. I did the math for my house. I could get away with 11 panels at about 480 watts per panel. I believe I could do it. Where I don't need I wouldn't need any grid assistance. With low use, let's say to be powered for a day, needs 24 kilowatt amp hours of battery. So this inverter and charger design also helps with, I think also people overestimate what they need because you're not running everything at once again. You generally, your electric stove and your dryer is going to be like your biggest draws surge. But I monitor like my electrical usage on a 24-hour. I could get away with a even smaller system. I could get away with like a 15 kilowatt system for sure. And I have a server in my house. So you can actually put these in parallel too. Which is max input 10,000 watts, rated output 6,000 watts. This is an inverter and a charger. It's a combination. These combos are pretty sick. Built-in switchgear, low idle consumption, stackable 16 units, 5-year warranty. They're sick. Save up to 22k watts a day on an 8k system. And you can do smart monitoring. I wouldn't want that. I would want that local. If that can be done locally, then I wouldn't really care. As long as if it could integrate into like Home Assistant or something. High power output, So 2 of these would probably be, maybe ideal for expanding. And then a lot of people, let's see. And the bifocal panels need less. You need less because you can actually, for my region, for what I did the math and surge protection, I could do all I need is about 11 panels at a certain wattage. And it will meet my needs. Like, this is pretty inexpensive. $12,000. I don't run the whole house off the battery system, but I do run the whole house off the generator. Interesting. You could, though. You probably use less electricity than you think. Look, guys, only with a firm, only $745 a month on top of your mortgage. I would probably just do this under a loan or something. I would not use the firm. Sounds like a bad idea. Can I expand the system in the future? This system is completely expandable. Add more inverters and solar panels to expand as needed. I like the idea of battery that is designed for each large appliance, like a battery for the fridge, a battery for the stove, battery, then and before appliance modular build. There are some modular ways you could build this system, 100%. They also make smart fuse, so you can get something called a smart fuse box. There's only one company that makes them right now. There's no open source option out there really, which kind of sucks. Well, there is, but it's not good. Like really not good. There's a smart panel. This looks cool and expandable. Yeah, the expandability is great. No, this is like one of the best off-grid solar inverters that I have seen. If remote monitoring is allowed locally, I'm okay with it. If it's not, I would just not do it. Or if it can integrate with cloud, like Home Assistant, that'd be kind of sick. I just worry about remote monitoring for a lot of reasons. I think it's a blessing and a curse kind of thing. I will say though, so you can get there's a smart panel company that will take your system and you can do it in 220. You could put it in a 220 service. Instead of your 110 volt, you can put a 220, and then you take a 220. The way you don't that way you don't need to go offline until you have everything ready. So the smart panel is kind of interesting. It will the company comes out, they install it. These breakers, these circuit breakers, actually cut power from it when it's using another high electrical load item. It kind of like chooses in a smart way to kill power somewhere else so that it like fuses don't blow. You can like be like, well, when I'm running the stove, turn off like the washer and dryer. Don't touch it. Like don't like let it turn on. So you could actually do switching in a smart way that would make it much more less likely that you would blow a fuse or blow your system. So in combination with this, it would probably be beneficial because again, most people don't do their laundry and fucking cook on their top, like their stove top, and then on top of it, most of your appliances don't go to their maximum peak amps out. Like they might do like half or get like close to it. They don't like go through like a 100% cycle through their max amperage. It's very rare. Now, obviously, electricity, an electric furnace, an electric stove, and an electric dryer / washer is going to be way more taxing than gas. Everyone knows that. But if you have a solar system that can handle it, then it becomes cheaper. That helps with AC and cooking while using the electric dryer. Yeah. And if you have like an AC would be the next huge appliance that you would have to consider. You would have to think about. Yeah, so like if you're like obviously if your AC is running, and they make mini splits are very efficient. The ductless systems, they are very efficient and they're very cheap. You can get them for like $1,000. On-demand hot water, yeah. I believe electric tanks are pretty much on-demand hot water. So and they actually I think they heat up much quicker and use less. They're like less. They're more efficient. 2.5 ton. Interesting. Oh, okay. You could probably get. A mini split might be more efficient. Like it just depends on how big your house is. If you have a small house, then a mini split could be very very efficient. You wouldn't need like a massive AC unit. I've considered getting a mini split because they're just very small and efficient, and that's just something I would prefer. And their maintenance is much easier. You can install it yourself. You don't have to pay somebody. There's pros and cons to it, though. Europe uses a lot of mini splits because the ductless systems are because they do a lot of building on top of each other and a lot of buildings next to each other. So ducking is a nightmare. So this is just an easier way to do it. Ductless mini splits are pretty sick. Not for obviously, if you have a huge ass house, not fucking worth it because that'd be very expensive because you got to put one in each room. 6 rooms, yeah, no, not worth it. Use the ducts. There, maybe in the future. Actually, you might, if you could, you might benefit from a geothermal. Just do a geothermal, man. Your house will be the same temperature all year round. I have one mini in the enclosure in the back porch. Okay. Wow, 6 rooms. We got Mr. Rich Pants out here. What's next? You gonna tell us you have windows too? Yeah, off-grid solar has always been something super I'm interested in, just because it's super cool. Oh, interesting. Did you install the solar yourself, or did you have someone else do it? And I would probably, I don't know if I'd do the roof, put it on the roof. Oh. Not rich, still paying the house off 6 more years. Oh, that's good. That's awesome. 6 years is nothing, man. Some people be fucking refinancing and they out booling. Oh wow, they have generators. But I would go with the Vader versus their batteries. I would go with the Vader. Wow, that's even on a pergola. I have 2 panels installed on a oh, so you did it yourself. Nah, look at them dang generators right here. Briggs and Stratton, that motherfucker out there. Shed transfer 200 amps, empty my motherfucker choice power management you trust. Someone I closely know lives in a mobile caravan after retirement to travel the country and be in nature. They live pretty off grid. I stayed in the van. Also, only minus was not charging my laptop. Yeah. No Git development while you're off grid on the. It's like when I go on a train and I have to I'm not near it. I'm not just running the family server off of it. Oh, that's kind of cool. You can put eco server. Guys, look, my server is eco. Hey man. Got a spare Pi 5, Umbrella XMR node, or a legal 2095? Or Pi... You can run Umbrella on anything. It doesn't have to be on... I don't think it has to be on a Raspberry Pi, but if you want the same... You can just... I would just say... There's so many good guides out there to do an XMR node. I would recommend not doing it on a Pi, because on better, more efficient hardware, syncing is much faster. You could just get the... Actually, you could just run it on your laptop or your desktop. You can get the official Monero wallet and just run it as its own node. You don't get Tor access. I mean, the only benefit is I can access it via Tor, but I don't need to be connected to my Monero wallet 24/7. Solarpunk. Yeah, I just don't like. I don't get why this country is so against renewable energy. I really don't. It's like we're brainwashed. Even I learned something quite interesting that the government did bad. This is really interesting. So it was the first major EV 1990. For all you old people out there, 1990s was a long time ago now. 30 years ago, 30 plus, old. How it was called the GM EV1 kicked off a modern EV revolution, and the government kind of killed this. It's pretty fucked up because they thought hydrogen was going to be like the next big thing, which is retarded. People loved this car apparently. Like there were people like say you would want a dedicated device for it though. What would be the best you think? That's a hard one. It just kind of depends what you if you don't want it on your PC. The Pi is just slow at sync. It's not as slow as the internet makes it out to be. The gov did something bad. Not again. Sure. The thing is, the Pi isn't the slowest option. It's just there's better options out there. Mine didn't take as long as the internet says. I would just say if you have a Raspberry Pi, do it. Don't waste the money on hardware. It's very efficient. But if you don't have anything, I wouldn't buy a Raspberry Pi right now because they're so fucking expensive. They're like $200. You might as well just spend the extra $100 and get like a mini PC and run it on there. You're gonna have better performance. You're gonna run off NVE drive, which is more stable. You don't got to worry about 99 other problems. But a bitch ain't one. So GM made something called the EV1 back in the 90s. This was like a project. It's kind of crazy. So in the early 20th century, electric vehicles have seen more fits to starts. The gas crisis of 1960s and 70s led to some fascinating experiments, but they were ultimately just experiments and never used. There was actually a point in time where EVs were being theorized because of gas crises throughout the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. Actually, the EVs aren't like new, but because the government killed the innovation standpoint, we're only left with a huge gap and a lack of competition. That's the thing. People say, I love my gas car. I need my truck to haul my once a year camping, and my one friend that moves every 10 years. I need to and then they create a fucking crater, and now trucks cost $80,000. I need to haul stuff. I have a camper. And it's like, dude, why do you have... campers don't make sense to me. I remember when gas lines or even old days you could buy... I remember that gas lines and even or odd days you could buy gas. Oh, you could buy like gas lines? So this is actually a 78 or 79. Oh, the lines in the gas, like the lines that they had, like the physical lines they had to buy gas. Oh yeah, probably insane. So the California Clean Air Act passed in 1988, and the state's first zero-emission vehicle mandate passed 2 years later, helped spur the development production EVs not just in the state or the country but around the world. Many of the EVs launched in the 90s were created as a direct result of the enactment. The subsequent amendments put pressure on automakers to come up with variable product EVs. The truck culture will always be funny as a European. Yeah, I agree. You had a card that let you buy gas on even or odd days. What the fuck? That's crazy. That would be people would have a stroke today. They would call it like they'd be like, this is some form of communism in my brother. Yeah, truck culture is understandably retarded because most of these cosplayers that buy trucks, they get it to camp. Like glamping to me is fucking retarded. Why get a fully decked out, loaded fucking camper to go fucking camping? You might as well just go rent a hotel in the middle of the woods. That exists. I've never understood spending 10 to 20 thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, 20, 30, to get a fucking RV that has a TV in it and you're camping and you're paying for electricity and water. My brother in Christ, you are literally just getting the most expensive fucking hotel on wheels. You had a card that lets you... Wow, that's crazy, though. And the truck thing is retarded. It's ruined the market for people that actually use trucks for a living, and it has ruined the market for people that live in the middle of nowhere that actually use their trucks for a living. Because now you have to buy something 10 to 15 years older to get any form of utilitarian functionality out of it, any repairability, and it doesn't cost $80,000. Or 60, which is fucking crazy. That's a whole house almost. If you spend that much money, and then people are like, I hate how everything expensive, and it's like, dude, you work in a fucking office and you have an F-250. You should be made fun of. Your truck, your personality as a truck when you live in the city is fucking retarded. And yes, people should make fun of you. And no, I don't see why you like it. When you use no truck's utility, like they don't use any utility of the truck. They don't go off-roading. They don't haul anything but like once or twice a year, like I said, RV camper. All they do is just go to fucking work and home, back to and for work. They're like, I need this. I just like trucks. And I'm like, all right, I hate you. Because I like trucks. They have a utility, but I like them from a utility. I think minivans actually are the most have the best utility. Minivans and station wagons need to make a comeback. Minivan based, station wagon based. I spent time in a mobile RV camper with a kitchen, TV, refrigerator, toilet, shower, bed, and all that, and it definitely can be made with reasonable price if you switch from a regular van to, yeah. But if you're doing that to like live in it, and you're doing it to travel in it, that makes complete sense. But to a middle class family that spent like $40,000 to $50,000 to go fucking camping once a year, that's retarded. I don't get it. I go camping like maybe once a year, once in a great while, like 2 to 3 days. I've never thought like, let me get a fucking camper for this. Like, no. I would just I'd just be in a hotel at that point. Or just get a cabin in the woods. There's Airbnb cabin in the woods that have all the same amenities. And doesn't cost a fucking house payment. I need to get some water. I like vans and had a living room and with a DirecTV back when we could program the cards. Yeah, that's sick. It's even like that's fine even when you're in your like fucking like your teens or like 20s. But when you're a full ass adult, it's just weird. I don't know. Glamping has never made any sense to me. You might as well just stay at home. My friend lives full-time in it. Very inexpensive living. He just hangs out on the most beautiful beaches and shores and forests in the country. Yeah, that's cool. That's based. That makes sense because, I mean, living in a hotel would be very expensive all the time. I'll even say, well, I have a different view of van life. I think van life is mostly Nepo babies with a bunch of money. Because you go on these van life channels, man, and oh my God. There was a really cool van life channel that used to bully van life channels, it's no longer around because he bullied someone and they ended up killing themselves, and people gave him a bunch of shit for it. Kids were in it all night while adults rode four-wheelers on this. Assaults in the 5 Florida. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. Glamping is just something I can't. I don't get. I can't get behind it. At the end of the day, people do them, man. But there was a van lifer who did it, I think, for a long time, and then started a YouTube channel, and then they did reaction content. And he's like, van life sucks. It's expensive. He said something that stuck with me. He's like, it's expensive homelessness. But most of the van life channels are like legit nepo babies. They'll be like, I'm gonna get a $50,000 fucking Mercedes Sprinter. They're like, I'm gonna get a $50,000 fucking Mercedes Sprinter, deck it out with another like $10,000 to $30,000. I'm like, bro, you could just bought a fucking house and traveled. You could have bought a house and still traveled, because they're like, oh, we're remote. Well, you don't need a van to be remote. You could have actually just not bought any of that, and taken all that money and just literally just traveled and stayed in Airbnbs. Window AC hanging out the back window and gas gen on the front bumper. No, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to get. You put in the grind yourself to turn something like school bus into a van. It can be done pretty good, pretty cheap. But you gotta know working. Yeah, those are great. I think they're cool, but most of the fucking people that do this, they get fucking Sprinter vans, and they're nepo babies, like, for sure. Like, they live with mom and dad and have a trust fund somewhere. There's no way. Because I see some of them, and I'm like, how are you doing this unemployed? And then if you are employed and you're remote, or you're just starting a YouTube channel, fresh out of 18, with all this debt, that's crazy. You need to get a U.S. military, I would say, camper. You can actually buy U.S. military vehicles dirt cheap. Like, dirt cheap. 50, 60 grand, and it'll be a fucking tank. It'll be like a horse. The maintenance will be expensive. While that loads. Oh, camper. Yeah, you can buy these actually. And deck them out like really cheap. No special license needed as far as I know anywhere in the US. You can buy it directly from the government. Government surplus. Government goddamn plan probably not gonna let me hear because I'm on tour, and they don't like tour unless it's for them. I had a TV with the sliding door open, and it would play music video from MTV that I recorded on a stereo VCR and edited. Just it's funny. It might just be a goddamn 90s thing, you know what I'm saying, brother? Just people back in the 90s like wanted to do camper stuff, and that I'm made 90s change of money, motherfucker. So you can get these surplus and bid on them and get them dirt cheap. We're gonna go United States and fucking Alabama, and motherfucker has all these goddamn motherfucking trucks for sale because they're Alabama. So you can buy these, like I said, dirt cheap. You can get like this. Obviously, TVs in your car before it was a thing. You getting MOK off? No. No. Fuck no, man. This is America. This goddamn America. We sitting out here, we go and work no matter what. Like, this isn't bad for $3,000. Obviously, it's auction and someone could outbid you, but like starting at fucking $3,000. Say you pick this up for $4,000. That's sick. My friend brought his DI camper off a retired high school teacher and restored himself. It was cheaper than. Oh yeah. Yeah, if you do it yourself, 100%. Motherfuckers ain't doing it themselves though. This better be a manual. If this ain't a manual, then I don't want it. You goddamn do the manual. Alright, gotta stop talking about Boomhauer. I like seeing the inside, the cockpit. If it'll load. You can buy surprisingly a lot of military gear really cheap. They're just throwing this shit out. There we go. Who took these pictures, man? Hold my beer. It takes that as a camper. It looks tough. Yeah, this would be sick. I would be cool with this, like living in this, just in general. And going across the U.S., that'd be sick. Control station, there we go. You said cock? True. Damn, Tor. You guys get the point, though. Yeah, so you can essentially... Why wouldn't you show the inners first? Why wouldn't you show the cockpit? Needs immediate repair replacement. Oh, okay. So it shows you lots of good green stars. And someone might not bid on this. You might get this shit for like $3,000. And if it's well maintenance, then imagine you picking up the homies. Imagine you picking up your date. You're like, hey ladies, hey can you pick me up? Yeah, no problem. Why do you stream? Use Restream? I'm using both. I'm using OBS with Restream. Restream allows me to stream to other platforms. I2P. Oh yeah, I2P is running now. Okay, I2P guys, no worries. We got to finish this though. I got sidetracked by military vehicles that I can purchase with real money. So in the 1990s, you can certainly remember hearing about ozone layer, saving whales, recycling. The California had a Clean Act that passed in 1998. Welcome to the history of electric vehicle. We'll cover many ways EVs have been part of more than 150 years of automotive. Look at this guy. Yeah, you have to get a plug-in that hasn't been updated in like 5 years. I'm good. Cali to FL would be money. Oh, yeah. Well, no, it's diesel. I mean, it's probably like very efficient in gas. The rise of the modern electric vehicle. California's original ZEV mandate was a very big deal. It put motion in a process that will require a small but gradually increasing amount of cars sold in the state and several other states to follow California emission rules to be zero emissions by the end of the decade. At the time is now that is primarily meant electric vehicles, in this case 2% by 1998. Currently, in response, the way things were going, General Motors based began developing the EV1 based as well, which also went into production in 1996. It is the first ground electric car to reach production, and there's quite a bit of controversy even today. The thing is, this car was a lease. They didn't allow you to own it. And it actually had good performance for the battery at the time, but because the shit got fucking killed, our average battery is only 100, like, it's only like 100 miles extra. This had like 100, I think, and 50, depending on the package that you got. It was 90 miles. So it's so it had a 137 horsepower motor that drove front wheels, allowing you to sprint 60 in 8.9 seconds. That's impressive. This took me back to when they took them back. I was mad the day they did it as a lease. Yeah. Well, I think they did it as a lease because they maybe assumed that it was a patent thing and they didn't want to. 95% of the Linux and BSD kernel not been updated in 5+ years. What do you mean? The Linux kernel has definitely been updated. Especially that that plugin has a lot of access. To like your stream keys and everything, so doesn't seem based to me. It also got Chinese lettering on it, and I don't like that. However, GM only released 1,100 of these or so of these. It produced without giving the option to buy the car. When the leases ended, it collected the EVs, most of them which were still in perfect working condition, scrapped them to the dissatisfaction of the leases, and was unfortunately not the first time GM fumbled when it launched. The crazy thing about this is people were offering triple, if not double, if not triple, the amount of the car's worth to keep it. Like, people loved this car. Like, this was a loved vehicle. People were like, I think someone offered $1 million to GM to buy like the ability to buy the lease, like buy the car, and they said no. Still, like a bunch of fucking retards. Do you think when something is updated they rewrite every line of code? I don't think when something is updated they rewrite every line of code. But if there's a plugin that hasn't been updated in 5+ years that has access to like all the channels that I'd be running, I would not feel comfortable doing that. Just doesn't seem like it's a good trade-off. I looked at that way before Restream, anyways. So the interesting thing is the EV1's rise and fall, later documented in 2006, Who Killed the Electric Car, as well in 2011. Revenge of the Electric Car, both remain relevant today. The entire industry faces a transition that feels more 90 the Geo Metro at heart, a very similar idea in the Cola sedan. Wow. The Geo Metro, I forgot about the Geo Metro. The interesting thing about this entire vehicle is 90 miles. And I think it got even more if you got a different model of it, like a different package. That is impressive, something 30 years ago. Now we're looking at something like fucking, like some modern electric cars get only like 150, like 175. Some 200. So, like, in theory, we would be probably like way ahead of what we do now if we would have this would have never got killed. Pretty much, the thing is, GM wanted to hide this. They took all these vehicles and put them in the middle of a desert and crushed them. Very strange. One of the first EVs in the 90s was another conversion, this Solus Force. Solectric Force. I need to tour unsee you. Awesome stream, like always. Oh, I need tour. You need to sleep. Awesome stream, like always. Good day. Thanks. Appreciate it, Code. Appreciate you coming by, and you have a wonderful night. The Sol Electrica Force was introduced in 1991 and priced at $33,995 and had a lead acid battery pack They gave a range of 50 miles at 45 miles per hour. 50 miles at 45 miles per hour. This was also a nickel metal plate hydro version available, which had double the range, but it cost a whopping $88,000. The anchor will talk about the use of ITP next time. It said it said that it is not much more difficult to use than Tor. It belongs to more mysterious anonymous website. ITP is pretty easy to use. So all you have to do, we'll finish this and we'll go to it. No worries. Wow, that's insane. Oh, I need Tor run. The Pure got introduced an all-electric version of its 106 city car called the 106 Electriquit in 1995, whose 12 kilowatt nickel cadmium battery pack was good for about 60 miles while driving on flat roads at moderate speeds. The French automaker was expecting to be a hit, ultimately only made 6,160 by 2023, but it ended they were all sold exclusively in Europe. Good night. Good night, kiss. 1997 to 2003, Toyota RAV4 EV was a Japanese manufacturer's first series production EV to comply with California's ZEV mandate. It had 27 kilowatt nickel-plated metal high-ride batteries. It gave an EPA range of 95 miles. Straight-line performance wasn't its strong suit with a 67 horsepower acceleration time decision. Who cares at that point? Yeah, I think they make the RAV4 still. Ladies! It could charge its battery maximum rated 6 kilowatts, requiring 5 hours to go from flat to full. That's impressive. Like, for the time, that's insane. God, I love these angles. This is a very 1990s, early 2000s thing. Is when they always did these fucking weird-ass angles. Opasaur. Interesting emoji. It could charge its battery to a maximum of 6 kilowatts, requiring about 5 hours to charge. The full Toyota launched the second generation of RAV4 in 2012, so 12 fucking years later. And production ended in 2014. Another EV created to California was the EVs of Honda's past. The EV Pulse, maybe 1997, 1999. It was an electric version of the Honda Logo City hatchback, which got good for about 105 miles of range. Only around 300 examples were made. That's sick. Ford decided to turn its Ranger into an EV. That's crazy. I didn't know about this. Square Video is a giveaway. That's true. Whoa. This was actually Ford's best truck ever, in my opinion. The Ranger was the best. Cybertruck, what Cybertruck? How about a 2000s Ford Ranger EV instead? That's sick. Oh my god, if you would have told anyone you had an EV Ford Ranger back then, you would have got fucking blasted. Which gives it appalling range. This is clean. Best truck they ever made. Ford sells electric kits for old trucks and cars. Did not know that. Buy it now. Price is currently set at $5,000. It's kind of awesome. That was wow. Norway-based Think City also deserves attention because it's one of the first EVs to make a real practical sense. It was a small city runabout like many tiny EVs before. But it was up to 13 kilowatt battery capacity. Later models range 60 miles on a full charge. It's found flavor with many urban drivers in its native Norway, as well as other European countries. Around 1,000 were built. Gee whiz. Wow, that is very 2000s. 90s, 2000s, the cheetah print. It was very similar to the review, but I don't know if you can market name. Okay. Wow, $13,000. That's pretty sick. Released in 91, the BMW E1 concept is often cited as the predecessor to the current i3. A 4-passenger EV was capable of 125 miles per charge and a copious lightweight material. Sadly, it was never put into production. Wow, that's ugly. No, thank you. This guy looks like it's electric. Watch them DMCA strike me for this one. Copyright strike, guys. You showed too much. Oh my god, look at this old ass commercial. Classical Thunder Department, Richmond, VA.
They're being billed as the cleanest, quietest, and most technologically advanced cars in America. And a Massachusetts auto dealer is the first in the nation to start selling them. Merrick Chevrolet of Arlington, Massachusetts will showcase electric cars made by Selectria. A New England Cable News business reporter Mont Fennell takes you on a spin in the Selectria Ford.
Wow, this feels very old.
Claiming that electric cars are too expensive to make and unaffordable to most consumers. This week, however, GM will begin leasing its recently unveiled EV1 in California and Arizona.
It's going to be very difficult for us to take GM, for example, seriously. If they're marketing and producing the...
What was the lease cost of that, actually? Ultra rare GM EV sells for the lease cost of the GM range from approximately $400 to $550 per month, depending on the location of the lease. The leasing program was part of the real world test project. Wow, that's not bad. I mean, probably for the time, and it was. Wow. Yeah. So pretty much, apparently, it got killed because of hydrogen, because they thought hydrogen was going to take over, and even the current president of GM was like, yeah, we should have never stopped doing that. We should have never killed that project. Like, they kind of, he's like, that was dumb, and they regretted it. But I2P, guys. Let's go, let's make sure. Not Bob. E. I would even say that, like, people that have, like, range anxiety think that they drive more than they actually do. I'm not saying, like, EVs are for everyone, but I think people just think that, like, oh, nope, I'm not going to be able to make it. I can't make my camping trip that I make once a year that's 20 miles away. I need a diesel. I need a $80,000 diesel, $80,000, $500 car payment plus insurance, $1,000 a month diesel to go camping once a year, guys. I fucking need it. I haul my testicles everywhere I go with this motherfucker. You can't convince me otherwise. I don't care that I'm literally putting myself in financial debt, wasting tens of thousands of dollars a year on my diesel. I love it. I wouldn't change the world for, sir, your brakes are $500. I can't do it. I don't want to put a dime into my diesel. I love her so much, but I don't want to put a single dime into the diesel. I don't want to maintain her. That seems ridiculous. I only want $3 brakes. That's all I want. That's what I fucking bet happens 80% of the time. People will buy $80,000 trucks and put $5 brakes on there and not do any form of maintenance and be like, this motherfucker broke down. Cars aren't like they used to. Motherfucker's been up 77 goddamn minutes. The thing is, too, is like you with electric vehicles, you don't have to worry about any of the fucking maintenance. Very little, like there's very little maintenance need on them. But remember, guys, I need that goddamn diesel, damn motherfucking. I need that Chevy 3500. I don't care if I don't care that I work at Wendy's. And the car payment costs more than my house. And my wife left me. You know what's funny too is, project website. Let's make sure that goes. The funny thing is, I'm gonna laugh when people like come across like my live series and they watch the first set of videos. And I want someone that's never watched any of my content, but start with the live series and watch me going from playing Magic, The Gathering, and Workers and Resources, like some other Steam games. With how much I drive, I could get away with an electric car. You can. I think most people can. 100%. I think most people that live in the fucking city can. If you live in the middle of nowhere, a little bit harder, but I think most people can. But I'm laughing to think about I want someone to come in and watch my channel to go from playing Magic and talking about privacy and security topics to me ranting about electric cars. There's a Monero section, and then there's this other weird section where I rant on different sites about schizophrenic topics on the darknet. To see me talking about electric cars again, and sustainable resources, and then back to I2P. I want him to see me go through the schizophrenic changing, and then think about how much water I've drinking, where I'm always like I need water. But I've met people that have gotten electric vehicles. Anecdotally, this might not matter, but I've met people that have gotten electric vehicles that were skeptic of them, like very skeptic of them, and then get them and they're like, I was crazy. They're like, oh, I'm dumb. I'm fine. The thing is, people are critical of electric cars, but they never drive them. They never test them out. They never do any form of research. They just get their shit from fucking like Fox News or CNN or Twitter or some retard that owns like a gas station, and they're like, oh, I wouldn't trust it. Then batteries cost more than the vehicle. They're like $10,000. Yeah, when the battery fucking goes in 10 years, guess how much the battery is going to be? Also, I think Americans are retarded. They'll get a lease vehicle, pay for a lease for like 3 years, maybe 4. They'll pay for a lease for 3 to 4 years with full coverage insurance, and then get another lease. And they're like, well, I don't got to do maintenance. Get a fucking EV then and own it. I don't got to worry about maintenance. Yeah. You got a fucking EV then. Get a fucking EV. I want to get a new vehicle every 3 to 5 years. Please, just let me waste my money and then bitch about how I have none. You ever seen those fucking those funny they're like, guys, the economy's doing awful, and then it'll be like cell phone bill $500, gambling addiction $3,000. They're like, this inflation is unreal. Car payment $800. When I meet people with $800 car payments, I assume they live at home or they're retarded. If you pay $800 for a car payment, you're either retarded or you live with your parents. And I've seen it. I've seen people with car payments like that. And I'm like, I had a coworker with an $800 car payment. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you retarded? Or do you live at home? They lived at home. To me, that's insane. Financially, that's just irresponsible. Imagine $8,000 a year to drive just on the car payment. That's not including insurance. And if it is including insurance still, that's insane. That's like, about $10,000, 9,600. Yeah, that's crazy. I hope not. I hope most people get out of the habit of putting themselves into debt. It's a bad habit. 2001 E250. Is that the van? Is that a cargo van? Oh, I'm not going to get anything on here. I would love a cargo van for so many reasons. Yeah, that is the van. How big is that? Is it too big? It's the Eco line? Is it the long version? I would love to get that. Nice. What up, Jay? I've heard Chevy's better though. I was reading Chevy is better. I have a specific reason why I would want a cargo van. But I've heard bad things about the Ford's transmission on these things. They just are the worst. And some people say that the Chevy Express 2500s are better now. Like they're anything like post 2014. Chevy Express vans are just fucking workhorses. They'll last hundreds of thousands of miles. I've mainly driven European cars because they're reliable. I would trust my life with a $300 one-owner European Toyota, or like a European owner that owns a Toyota, or like a fucking like $300 Honda or $300 GTI Volkswagen. Then I would trust $20,000 new vehicle made in America. V8, I love it. Mine is a shorter than the normal van, but I have a wheelchair lift in mine and have to replace 2 trans. I've had to replace the trans 2 times. Ooh. Chonkies are awesome. Chinooks are awesome. Interesting. You had to replace the trans 2 times. I mean, that's not bad. It's probably cheaper than a fucking actual car. I mean, actually, 26, 20... Chinook? I don't know what that is. I mean, for a 25-year-old car, that's pretty reasonable. The short, I don't want a long bed. I would want a short. I would want a short. I mean, the gas mileage is whatever. Chinook. Oh, a dog? Nice. I put car tires on my wheelchair. Built myself. Oh, nice. That's awesome. I am talking about vans. What do you think the most secure PC OS right now is? Just read a retarded thread. Just read a retarded thread on it. The most secure is probably. I mean, it depends. It's one of the most secure. I mean, technically Mac and Windows probably in the right hands. Linux isn't secure. But if you're talking about overall the most secure Linux distro, that's a convoluted topic, and it's somewhat complicated. But if you want out of the box security, Cubes OS, and then Secure Blue. Cubes OS has the assumption that everything has been compromised, Secure Blue just secures it from the ground up. Because Cube's OS is everything is in a virtual machine. So and it takes it on they take the Zen hypervisor and modify it themselves. They forked it and stripped a lot of the BS out of it. So there are some vulnerabilities that hit the Zen hypervisor that don't affect Cubes, and then there's some that do. But Cube's OS probably for sure. Mac OS, it hardened Windows in the right hands is more secure than handing someone Linux. But I think people, Linux nerds will fight me on this because they say, look at all the vulnerabilities with Windows. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. What do you think about Kick Secure compared to Secure Blue? Secure Blue uses Fedora, which I think Fedora has better security standards than Kick Secure because they picked Debian. My general take is that anything that's not rolling releases, from the information I've obtained and gathered, rolling release is far more secure than LTS. So you have to take that with a grain of salt, though. Rolling release will get patches faster and updates faster, which is critical for security. But if you have a little bit of smarts, I mean, LTS could be fine. But Kick Secure, I think they shouldn't have based it off Debian. They probably should have based it off like Gen 2 or maybe something that has a rolling release schedule. Maybe OpenSUSE would be better. But they picked Debian for a reason. There's a reason behind it, probably, because it does LTS and it's more stable, but I don't know. My suggestion is learn how to incorporate actual secure policies into your Linux distro. You can take any Linux distro and incorporate a lot of the Linux actual Linux hardening tips. But the problem with Secure Blue is it's developed by one person. They could abandon it if they want, and they're very opinionated on how it should be done, and that's fine. Technically, the most secure Linux distro is Graphene OS, Android in general, because it's immutable. Immutability is a thing. I agree, but you think Debian is an exception to that logic considering its history? Not really. A lot of Linux distros based off Debian because it's easy. I have an old machine, but DuckDuckGo says my machine will be sluggish. I said Series 16 gigabytes DDR. Damn, DDR3. Not real. Like the problem is LTS is the problem, and root access. Having sudo is another problem. A lot of processes in Linux aren't isolated or sandboxed. It's like a UI. It's a SCID and a UID, a UUID, like a process. This is from what I understand. You can definitely do use cubes. Don't try, bro. Just do. Yeah, exactly. Don't try, just do. No, you can do cubes. You can run cubes on that. That's fine. I ran cubes on a worse machine. 16 gigs of RAMs. Yeah, don't try, bro. Just do. I think considering LTS is just far off worse for security, and the fact that sudo is still there, and it's got a lot of SCID problems, like processes that are operated within the same realm of each other. There's no separation, and then I don't think most distros incorporate control flow integrity, which is important from a security standpoint. I mean, it's kind of like a loaded question because it's essentially it's like what do you demean secure, and do you have some form of security knowledge where it's less of an issue and you know how to tweak things to make it more secure but usable. That's what it really comes down to. you could add tools and good security practice and good hygiene to your system to increase the security of it. But most of these hardening guides on like FireJail is a often recommended option, but FireJail actually weakens your security and it's pretty bad. It'd be better to learn how to write SE Linux policies or use AppArmor slash AppArmor and know how to incorporate actual sandboxing, like Flatpak. Like Flatpak, it used to get a bad reputation for being too many permissions, and the flat kill was out, and that was like kind of like accurate for the time, but now I think it's outdated, and it's gotten fixed with a lot of problems. Flatpak is one of the best ways you can run most applications because it's supposed to sandbox everything off, and then you would use it in combination with FlatSeal or BubbleJail in order to tighten the permissions down to prevent any fuckery. And then removing sudo would be the better option for less permissive, like less permissions and less elevated privileges, like do as, or using something called run zero. Run zero kind of gives you like sudo privileges, but it doesn't do it from the root account. Now with Debian with Kicksecure incorporated something called sys maintenance, so it allows you to do some form of maintenance, like updates, anything, without having to be the root user. So if you've never touched a terminal, right answer would be probably Mac OS, but you don't think that with the right skill set, some Linux could be easily become more secure? No, because Linux in itself has design flaws that make it less secure. You don't have to touch terminal with Linux, though. You can just go your entire life doing everything from the GUI. This isn't really like a skill issue. This is lacking because Linux lacks a lot of safeguards that are built into like Mac OS and built into like Windows itself. That's beyond the point because some people at the end of the day, I believe in user freedom and people should be able to make the decision they want. This is same thing, but I think the argument that Linux is more secure because it's more obscured or because of XYZ, it's not. Hell yeah, I'm back for ITP lesson. Kind of. So that's another issue is there's a lot of false information in FUD that's released about Linux in general, and it's not productive. But I think that it can be fixed with better education and better understanding of how Linux works. Fedora does a really good job at fair point. Fedora does like a really good job at actually making a reasonably out the gate secure Linux distribution, especially with their atomic systems that are quote unquote immutable, but they actually have to be immutable. I mean, this is what gives Android its strong security focus, is the fact that it is immutable and nothing can change. But then you would have to really go down and understand SUID policy, like how SUID processes work, how applications open up, and what does it expose to the system securely and insecurely. And gaming in general is like, here's a good example. Gaming in general is not secure because there's no GPU isolation, because a lot of Linux distros ship with X11. X11 doesn't do any form of GPU isolation, and this is a problem. Fedora is an extremely good operating system too. Yeah, it is. I shit on Fedora, but I shit on Fedora because there's some things I just don't like about it. But it's not that it's the lack of good. OpenSUSE is the same thing. OpenSUSE is another really good underrated operating system that actually incorporates a lot of good security practices built into the system. But because Linux isn't a homogeneous forming a group of thinking, and everyone thinks like, well, I don't care as long as user freedom is there. I don't care kind of mentality. That's something that you have to keep in mind as well. I mean, Linux distros have different. It is. People don't use Cubes OS because they think it's hard, though. That's the problem. I think the misunderstanding that Cubes is a difficult and high resource maintained system to run is the problem, and demystifying that is educating people that Cubes OS can operate with 6 gigs of RAM and CubesOS isn't really that difficult to use. That's where I think why people don't use it, and most people just don't give a shit. That's the real answer at the end of the day. People don't care about security. They may, until something happens. I don't like the bloat of Tumbleweed. I like the cleanness of Fedora workstation out of the box. Yeah, I could see that. I get why. Their package manager has a funny name. I think people that realize Cubes has a good. I use Cubes because it helps my ADHD. I can organize everything on a container basis. Everything's color coded, and I know what does what, where to do what, and it separates a lot of things that makes my organization just go. It piques my organization drive. Like, it makes me a very well organized person. How hard do you think Cubes is to run for a lifetime Mac user though? I mean, a day. You have to learn how to copy stuff with the clipboard. That's kind of annoying. But once you get it down, I actually, sometimes when I go on a normal PC, I accidentally do it. I'm so used to just doing it. Copy the clipboard and then knowing that you can't game on it. But again, you got to know that gaming is insecure anyways. Zypper is the best package manager on Linux in my opinion. That's funny. I think you can learn, and the cool thing is with CubesOS, you can do trial and error because it allows you to. It ships with Debian, Unix, Kick Secure. You can get as well, and you can turn a Debian VM into Kick Secure, and you can touch Fedora. So you touch some of the major ones. Josh from Cider Burrito supposedly is running or going to run CubesOS. Yeah, that's good. It allows you to be very organized. I think people have a fear of CubesOS because people that have never touched, again, it goes back to people never touching it. They never touched it, and then they have one bad experience, and they're like, nope, it's for experienced advanced users only. It's a bunch of bullshit. I jumped into CubesOS, and if I came as a new user, I would still think that most people could use it. It's really not that hard. And the resource thing, people, I think they make it up. I ran CubesOS on 6 gigs of RAM on a shitty laptop. And they're like, how many VMs do you run? Well, that doesn't matter. People ask if it's usable and it's runnable with 6 gigs of RAM. It definitely is. And then I upgraded to 16 and it was even better. Now I have 64. Now I have even more. External SDME. Oh, I'm saving money to get a proper fast SSD to run Cubes on my laptop. Nice. Bro is rich. No, I bought this before the RAM prices, and now hindsight 2020, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did. Let's see if it can work now. funny. I watch Josh. He does some good graphic news videos of like trying to break the install with yeah. Josh is great. How do you exactly get I2P on your computer? I just never used this before. So all you got to do is go to, I use I2P Plus. Oh, I'm not going to be able to find it on here, kind of. Because it gives you a nice graphical user interface and charts. So you download it, and then for non-Windows users, you use the following command, and it'll work like the exe Windows specific wrapper jar file, java.jar/i2px install. It installs all the packages that you need. Then you cd into the account. After you cd into the I2P, you essentially run this command. You run I2P /I2P router. The word start, I'm not going to do it because it's already started. Done. And then it'll work. And then you open up, you have to configure Firefox to use it. So on the Firefox side, you can do it on Chrome too, which would maybe be a better secure platform. You go to your settings. You just have to type the word network. And then settings. And then you point Firefox proxy, manual proxy configuration, 127.0.0.1, which is your local host, then port 4444. And then you also use proxy for the HTTPS. You can do that. Then you got to go into about config and turn on something to use proxy. Something proxy. Their website has a pretty good explanation on how to connect to it. It's pretty easy. Then after you let it run, you do have to wait. You can ignore the firewalled part. This does make it less effective for getting peers to each other, but it's not super relevant. Essentially, do you generally use Firefox, or is it just for VM? It's just for a VM. I don't like Mozilla. There's only one Firefox browser I use really, and it's Ironfox, and that's on Android. But the problem is Firefox on Android doesn't really use any form of isolated processing, which is not good. But in general, Ironfox is the most decent option we have. You can get it on the web browser too. Mozilla has just made a lot of shitty mistakes that I'm not a fan of. I've never really liked Firefox from a user standpoint. I don't think it offers anything that I can't get from Brave. I think Brave is, so far in 2026, I've been using it for a long time, is the most easy browser to use. And from all the research I've gathered, from all the people that have explained it, Firefox hardening doesn't exist. All these extensions you add to increase your privacy, all these config files that you do, don't necessarily do anything. You are actually making yourself more fingerprintable because you're adding so many unique features that browser tracking looks for. It's like, this looks kind of unique. I'm going to tag you now in a sense and essentially make you fingerprintable. The best thing to do is to look like everyone else. Can I get this to run on the disposable QM before I install it? Yeah, that's why I was surprised you used Firefox. Firefox has made, like I said, a lot of mistakes too. But I do not generally use Firefox unless it's in a virtual machine because I don't want to go through installing Brave just for a virtual machine. Or if I use I2P and Firefox work better together. It's not that you can't get it to work on Chromium. It's just a better experience, surprisingly, on Firefox. But I have a lot of issues with Mozilla itself, the company, and Firefox in general. I think you can dislike a company and still use their product and think it's good. Like Brave has done shady things with especially with the crypto shit. that I was not a fan of, and I thought was really gay of them. I still think Brave's a good browser because a lot of people don't change too many configurations. What do you think about crypto stuff? Well, that's Brave randomizes the fingerprint info, doesn't it? I don't think anymore. I think they disabled that feature, and you have to enable it yourself. And people did backlash them on that. Brave is owned by the guy who created JavaScript, so I trust it actually technically. Is actually technically advanced. I hate JavaScript, so again, I have issues with Brave the company. The people that run the company, because I think they've done some shady things in the past, but I think Brave is the best default option for ad blocking, and it has some enhanced features from a security standpoint. Secure Blue's browser is actually the better version because Secure Blue's browser is called Trivium or Trivite or whatever. It's based on Vanadidium's Graphene OS web browser, which is a hardened Chromium version that is more secure, not more private, but more secure, which can lead to generally better privacy in general. So you could just pair it with like a VPN. And then the other browser that I'm okay with, obviously Tor, but they chose Firefox, and they chose it for a reason, which a lot of people disagree with that decision. Surprisingly, especially if you go on like Hacker News, they disagree with it. I like Mulvad's browser sometimes, once in a great while. I know they're based on Firefox, but I think that was a poor decision, and they didn't really have a good option maybe at the time, so they just chose Firefox. The browser wars are kind of funny because you're really just picking between two browsers. Wait, it's all Chrome? It's all based on Chrome? Always has been. And I've used Safari, and Safari's gay. I hate Safari. It sucks. I don't know a single person no one has I've used Safari a couple of times, and I'm still not convinced it's good. What about LibreWolf? I really like LibreWolf. It's cool, but it's just doing all this extra hardening for you. But again, you're entrusting someone to do the hardening for you, and then you are entrusting that it's not fingerprinting you because it's adding all these extra extensions and making you look unique. Fingerprinting is very, very, very good. I used to use LibreWolf and loved it with uBlock. uBlock's great. I like uBlock Origin. I use it when I use Firefox. Most of the time, I use Firefox and it's native. I don't do any extra hardening because most of the time it's in a virtual machine, and I want to look like the average user. I want to look normal. I just install uBlock Origin because it's such a popular add-on that I think it kind of makes you blend in. But again, fingerprinting is so good that you got to be sure that you're not changing things that make you look unique, where it's going to draw attention. That's essentially what it is. Let's see. If a website opens, let's go to this. Firefox sucks with ChatGPT web platform. Also, yeah, they were doing a lot of deals with Google to be their main default search engine. That was like another problem, which is kind of shitty of them. But whatever. I understand these companies gotta make money. I get it. You don't gotta lie to your people though. And I think Mozilla is people complain about their funding that they spend, but I don't think people realize that some of these teams are small, so their funding for administrative purposes is going to look insane because they have 5 members, so they got to put the money somewhere. And this is actually sometimes very common practice. I use basic vanilla Chromium for AI. You could also use Secure Blue's browser. You can download it. You can get a Flatpak version of it and use it if you're you want. What was the browser, that Chromium browser that had the furry pictures in it, though? I can't remember. It started with a TH. It was promoted by Chris Titus, and it's really funny. I like when people promote stuff without, waiting a little bit, and then something weird comes out of it. I'm not blaming Chris Titus or anything, but it was just funny. He's like, this is a good browser, guys, and then you find out the developer had a bunch of, furry porn in the Git repo somewhere, which was really funny actually. Furries in my browser, no thank you. Thorium or something like that. I don't know why he was even suggesting it. I didn't see what it did. I forgot what it did something very different. He was like, "Oh, this is amazing," and I'm like, "I don't see it." I tested it out for like 5 minutes, and I was like, "I don't see the hype," so I left it. I like uninstalled it. I think that's what it was called. Florp? No. The best browser with shittiest name. I've never used Florp. It's actually an element, too. This is going to be a weird thing to search. Yep. It is thorium. The furries they got to Florp is pretty cool in my opinion. Furry deer. Imagine explaining this to like internet archivists, like people that archive the internet, and they're like, "Yeah, by the way, back in like 2022, there was a furry developer that had put furry stuff into the browser they were building." It's just funny. Someone's got to document it. Well, based. All right, guys. I've given definitely almost 3 hours of my time to you. I appreciate every Japanese company made Florp. It has good engineering. I'll check it out sometime. I'm always willing to look at other browsers, even if they're based on Firefox. I don't really have a choice until Ladybird comes out. I appreciate everyone coming by in the code base. Furry deer in the code base. True. I appreciate everyone coming by. Thank you for everyone commenting, subscribing, and listening to me rant. And check out stuff on the internet. Don't forget to take your car out of the side street so you don't get hit by a driving car. The Duras pen is also really based, as you should, because if you put it in, it will permanently wipe the device. See you later, man. Love and respect. Appreciate you. Don't forget to feed your pet snail. If you don't, it's illegal and you will be fined and sent to the gulags. I will see you guys in the next stream. Use the Duras pen. And don't forget to comment your favorite type of bread in the comment section, so YouTube knows that I'm a real person and I love all the rules.